Last and certainly not least, Mr. Eric Wells, if you would please step forward. Patrick Britz will do the honors in handing you your piece of hardware. Eric played football at Newberry from 1983 to 1987. As an owner and someone that founded my own business, what stands out for me, obviously, is he being the co-owner and co-founder of the Southeastern Insurance Consultants Group and being a board member of the Columbia Area Health Underwriters. Volunteer work on a board is never an easy task, but one made of love. Eric has also been involved with Camp Chemo for the last 35 years, which I understand is something that's near and dear to his family. He's made a real impact in the community, and at this point, I'm pleased to be able to sit down with Mr. Eric Wells. So what's not in the program are all of your football stats. Where are they?
Oh my goodness. So first of all, I appreciate being the shortest inductee tonight, including Marcy with her heels on there. But the football stats. So I was a walk-on at Newberry College with my good buddy Mike Davis, who's here tonight, who was a scholarship player. And most of my other friends as well at Newberry College. So, at Newberry, walk on there and basically played second team for 3 years. Had the opportunity to start my senior year, and a couple of games in, broke a couple of ribs, and that kind of put that on the sideline as well. I have to tell this story real quick, if you'd allow me, Tripp. I was asked to provide an interview for our Dimensions magazine, our alumni magazine at Newberry College, and a lady named Jill Johnson was interviewing me, and she said, well, how do you feel about your nomination for the South Atlantic Conference Hall of Fame? And I said, what are you talking about? I said, there's no way that I'm going to be in the South Atlantic Hall of Fame, let alone the Conference Hall of Fame, not going to be in the Newberry Hall of Fame. I was a mediocre defensive back at Newberry College. And that kind of passed, and I guess it's been about a year, and funny, Mike Hole gave me a call and said, have you heard from the South Atlantic Conference? This several weeks ago now. And I said, no. What do they want to talk about? I'm on the board of trustees at Newberry College and on the athletic committee, and I'm a long-time president and chairman of the athletic club, our booster club. And only negative thoughts were coming through my mind, Commissioner Britz. I can tell you that. And bottom line is, I said, yeah, I have a call from Commissioner Britz, and I'll call him back. And I called him back. He said, I want to congratulate you on your induction into the South Atlantic Conference Athletic Hall of Fame. And I said, for what? So anyway, he told me about the Distinguished Alumnus or Alumni category. And so here I am.
It really is unique in the work that I do throughout the country. I don't know that there's any other league that actually folds in distinguished alumni into the Hall of Fame, which I think is a high five to anybody that's been a part of this over the last couple of years. You went to high school in Irmo, which is only 34 miles away from Newberry. Why didn't you go sow oats in Oregon or in Minnesota? Why did you go to college just such a short drive up the road?
So Newberry College, I'm a Lutheran, but have a Lutheran background, and knew of Newberry College from that perspective. Had a few friends, including Mike, that I talked about, who were going to Newberry College to play football. I'd looked at, quite frankly, Lenore Ryan, and thought about going there, and looked some other places. I'm kind of a homebody, ended back up in Irmo after making a little trip around the country a little bit, but that's probably why.
So given the rigors of football, and football as a scholarship player is one bucket to consider, but to be a walk-on, what inspired you to go do that?
My friends had a lot to do with that. Come on, man, come on, you can do it, you can do it.
Change friends, if that's
exactly right. Well, I'm going to tell you, and I tried to work out a little bit and thinking, okay, I'll go give this a try. And I remember walking onto campus and seeing some of the guys, who would be my teammates for the next 4 years, and looking at some of them thinking, oh my gosh, they look like Roman and Andre. And I'm like, with about 30 pounds on them, and I thought, goodness gracious, these guys are big. But it was a great experience. My lifelong best friends are from Newberry College, and most of them from the football relationship.
So given that you didn't start until your senior year, there's got to be a memory or two from the sideline, from the locker room, from the bus, the travel. There's got to be one that stands out that is like your number one student-athlete moment.
Several stand out, really, Tripp. And I would say that our beating Furman in 84, 85, I can't remember which year it is, but they went on to beat NC State that year. NC State went on to beat Nebraska that year, who I think ended up winning the national championship. And so we were the de facto national champions at Newberry College because of that win. So Eddie Taylor, the late Eddie Taylor, a teammate of mine who is also in the South Atlantic Conference Hall of Fame because of his athletic accomplishments, kicked a 48-yard field goal. Of course, it's 56 yards now. Most of you know about how that goes, but that's right. But it's to win that game, and that has to be one of them. The other one would be playing against Tracy Ham, who was an outstanding athlete at Georgia Southern. Having the opportunity to be on the field with him at the same time, and he goes on to win a Grey Cup. That kind of thing stands out. Getting knocked out on a crackback at Carson Newman, doggone it. Got ear hold, and I'm laying on the field, and I hear their PA announcer, whoever that was, I'm sure you'll be glad to tell me, and he's down to the 2-yard line. And back then we didn't check for concussions. I go over on the sideline, sit for a couple plays, the coach puts me back in on the goal line. So
I'm glad it's a memory if the hit was that hard, at least you have it.
That's right.
So you opened up your own, I alluded to this a minute ago, I don't think it's any small task to open up your own business, to have the vision for it, to put through the infrastructure. What did Newberry give you in terms of tools that gave you that ability to go do that?
I'd say a lot. I mean, Newberry College gave me the opportunity to go to graduate school. I went to Virginia Tech for graduate school and took my business major up there, and my major at Virginia Tech, I was looking at Wake Forest and quite frankly looking at Georgia Southern for business school. And went up with a buddy of mine who played ball with us and ended up at Virginia Tech. And he introduced me to the dean. They said, hey, why don't you apply here? Athletic administration, sports management. So naturally, now I'm in the insurance business. Right? So when you look at that and the friendships that I've made, quite frankly, our professors. I was able to develop a relationship at a small school like that with the president of the college. I think that had a lot to do with it, quite frankly.
So who do your high fives go out to tonight?
Well, of course, my family, my beautiful wife, Robin and Erica, and Emily, who couldn't be here tonight because she's back going to school. My mom and dad, who couldn't be here tonight because my dad had a heart catheterization this morning and he's doing fine. So I'm able to be here. But, my mom and dad, when you look at this Distinguished Alumni category, number one, high five to the SAC for that. And why? Because from what I understand, Commissioner Britz, is the Distinguished Alumni has to do with working hard and giving back to the community, giving back to your member institution. And I would like to challenge all student athletes to give back, not just because you played. I've heard some athletes say, well, I gave them my time when I was there. No. You got a scholarship. You had a scholarship. Every student athlete that continues on through a college career has a scholarship of some sort. Well, where do you think that money comes from? Where do you think those scholarship dollars come from? I'm also not just the shortest, but the oldest here today. But as we progress, I look at it as it's our turn to step up and give back of our time and our talents and our financial resources, quite frankly. And again, high five to the SAC for recognizing the student athlete and the former student athlete and doing those types of things. And I'm very honored to be here. I thank all of my former teammates, all of my former coaches, Coach Dunphy, who talked me into my freshman years and then to staying at Newberry College when it was 100 degrees and we were going through two-a-days, and everybody's got nasty stuff going on. So anyway, that's who I thank.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Wells.